goes against my husband, especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names. They only fueling a toxic atmosphere.
So in the wake of 2 assassination attempts, Melania Trump today broke the silence that she has largely held for much of the 2024 election cycle by doing a sit-down interview with Fox News. Now, we'll talk about it and react to it today, but I also feel like it's important to first contextualize it with some of the disgusting, repulsive reactions that liberal media figures like Don Lemon have had to Melania trying to speak up about her husband literally being shot at. Take a look.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
Folks, if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. But it shouldn't be forgotten. That is exactly how they feel about us and about all of us. You have Don Lemon shaking his head and rolling his eyes as a wife talks about how it was distressing to see her husband get shot at. Okay, these people, they have no empathy, really no humanity that I see at all whatsoever in that video. And before you want to say, oh, but Vince, he was rolling his eyes because Melania was spreading conspiracy theories about the shooting. First of all, no, she wasn't. All she said is that it needs to be talked about. It needs to be looked into. Why was there a catastrophic security failure, which is objectively true in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. But even then, look at, again, this is Don Lemon's immediate reaction. This is the part where
the attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience.
A horrible, distressing experience. Don Lemon is rolling his eyes and shaking his head, okay? And Don Lemon is not the only example of this.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
I think she's irrelevant, frankly, and I don't think this will matter. I do think it does kind of feed into conspiracy theories that we've heard out there.
It's feeding into conspiracy theories because a wife is concerned about her husband and is trying to ask simple questions to get to the bottom of exactly what is happening. Well, folks, in light of that, in light of what Don Lemon disgustingly did in reaction to Melania Trump, I feel like today we might as well, for that reason alone, react to this Melania Trump interview and give her a platform to explain herself, since clearly, her opinion is so irrelevant. Well, not to me. I mean, it's literally Donald Trump's wife. Let's take a listen then.
So the assassination attempts, the first one is in Butler, Pennsylvania. And you write about watching the assassination attempt on TV, and you started working and you were distracted, so you pushed pause. So you didn't see that first assassination attempt, and someone called you, I think your chief of staff maybe called you and said, he's okay, but there's been a shooting. What happened next?
I ran to the TV and I rewinded and I watched it. I was only a few minutes behind, and something, I guess, look over me, so I didn't really see live, but maybe, 3 minutes, few minutes later. But when I saw it, it was only, nobody really knew yet, right? Because when you see him on the floor and you don't know what really happened.
And again, do not forget for the context of this video, you know, this is actually a real human being, Melania Trump. So is Donald Trump. Believe it or not, some people think he's like, they're real human beings. This is a real human experience that they went through. And Don Lemon thinks it's funny. He rolls his eyes at it. He thinks it's okay to sit there and make fun of it. So keep in mind, when he rolls his eyes at Melania Trump's video, this is the human experience that he is rolling his eyes at, okay? So just remember that in the context of the character of a lot of the people in the mainstream media. And remember that the next time they talk about Trump's character, oh, he's such a bad person, how can you vote for him? Okay. Well, again, this is how those people feel. Just keep that in mind.
A few weeks later, there's another attempt on your husband's life at your golf course. Where were you and what was your reaction to this attempt?
I was in New York City, actually, and I saw it on the television. And as soon as I saw it on television, I called again, and he was okay because Secret Service were great. The guys that they were with him, they were fantastic. And I think both of the events, they were really miracles. If you really think about it, the July 13 was a miracle, like that much, and he could not be with us.
Exactly true. They completely are miracles. We're very lucky. We're very blessed that Trump is still with us. And with that said, now take a listen as Melania Trump begins to respond to the characters like Don Lemon, who, again, think this whole situation is funny and they enjoy mocking her for it. Take a listen.
Interesting how quiet and everything became, all of the mainstream media. There were a few days reporting about July 13 event, and everything then became quiet. So I had a lot of questions. What's going on? This is not normal. And is it really shocking that all this egregious violence goes against my husband? Especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names. They only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that they want to do harm to him. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. The country needs to unite. And I encourage everybody to read my letter that I wrote on July 14 again, because that cannot continue.
Well, not only are they still doing the whole Trump is a threat to democracy act, again, you have Don Lemon rolling his eyes as Melania Trump speaks about this. You have Bill Maher's audience the other night laughing about the second Trump assassination attempt. And fundamentally, at its core, what are they so pissed off about? What is the real source of all this hatred and vitriol? It's a guy who gave up a great life to try to fix his own country and make things better.
When people say they don't like him, what do you wish they knew about him?
That he is really a family man. He loves his family. He loves this country. And all he wants to build better and prosperous.
Yeah, he's just strong. He's not afraid to
he's not
talk
strong.
About the way
you
it really is.
You could see the way he was when he was shot, that in the ear, that the way he stood up and he said, fight, 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 because we cannot allow that to happen.
So ultimately, that's what we're dealing with, and it shouldn't surprise you at this point. When you try to stand up against the crooked system and try to tell the truth and try to help people out, I mean, that's the reaction you get, you know, from very bitter and nasty and unhappy people, as Don Lemon and others clearly seem to be. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.